This is a look at the settings panel in Refraktions. It gives a good view of how the generative system works and how to customize it. To enter the settings panel, tap the gear icon in the upper left. The first section contains the 8 sequencer tracks. Each listing shows the track number, the sample name, and the current MIDI route. I can customize each track to behave differently. I'm going to track 1, the glass synth. The top level toggle is enabling or disabling the track. If I'm not using the track, I can disable it and it'll be hidden from the main interface. Sample playback toggles whether the track plays the factory sample. I usually turn this off when I'm using the track to output MIDI to another source. The next section is composition, which sets how notes are entered and how they behave over time in the generative system. Quantization is what the notes will snap to when tapped on the screen or regenerated by the system. Pattern length is how many measures pass before a note plays again. And note duration is how long it takes for a note to completely fade out, at which point it goes into a regeneration algorithm. There, it will either go silent or be generated into a new location or pitch, depending on my historical use of the app and the level of activity in the current composition. The next section is volume, where I can control the level notes are entered in playback and toggle whether a track ever fades out. I'll turn this on if I want one of my tracks to be an ongoing background sound. Next is the pitch section. First, I can tune the sample playback. Next, I can toggle chromatic mode. If it's off, all the taps on this track will play middle C. Next, I can control which octaves are available on the screen when I tap a track. Notes coming in from other iOS apps or MIDI controllers also map to this octave range. Finally, I can toggle whether a note can vary when it loops or if it plays the same way each loop. Having this turned on creates more variation in the composition. The next section is MIDI control. Each track can independently have its MIDI on or off. I can also choose the send and receive MIDI channels and the MIDI destination. The default destination is global, which defaults to the selection made in the global MIDI routing section. I'll show you that in a minute. That's the end of track customization, so I'm going to scroll back up and head back to the settings main menu. Under the track section is music scale. Screen taps and incoming MIDI notes will map to the selected scale. I can also create a custom music scale. Next is the sync section, where I can use either Ableton Link or a traditional MIDI sync. Here's the global MIDI routing, which I mentioned earlier. Tracks can default to the global selections here or have their own routing. Under background mode, I need to turn this on if I want the app to continue to play audio or send MIDI when I exit it. It automatically gets turned on if the app is loaded into AudioBus or AUM. Next is a button to reset the AI memory. I do this if I want to clear the slate and start from scratch with the machine learning. Under that is a button to reset the whole system to the factory settings. And finally is the support section, which has links to web resources and a way to email me with questions or feature requests.